Does God have a name? Most people have heard of God and know His name. But just knowing His name doesn't mean they truly understand who He is. The Bible talks about the Samaritans, people who were passionate about worshiping God, but Jesus had something interesting to say about them. In John 4 verse 22, He told a Samaritan woman at a well, "You worship what you do not know, we worship what we do know, because salvation comes from the Jews." Jesus was straightforward. He told her that the way she and her people worshipped wasn't based on a true understanding of God. They were just following traditions, doing what they thought was right. The Bible also tells a story about an Amalekite who thought he understood King David, but was completely wrong. After a battle, he came to David with news that King Saul and his son Jonathan had died. When David asked how Saul had died, the man claimed he had killed Saul himself, thinking David would be happy and reward him. But in reality, 1 Samuel 31 verses 3-4 tells us that Saul actually took his own life. So why did this Amalekite lie? He thought he was doing something smart. He assumed David would be glad to hear Saul was dead. He even brought Saul's crown as proof, hoping for a reward. But he didn't really know David. Instead of getting a prize, David had him executed. This story teaches an important lesson. Just knowing about someone isn't the same as truly understanding them. This Amalekite knew Saul's name, but he didn't understand his character. He knew David's reputation but completely misunderstood his values. And more importantly, he didn't truly know God. Does God really exist? What's the evidence? God is a spirit. You can't see Him physically. But the Bible describes Him as having a face, eyes, ears, and deep thoughts. Can you actually feel His thoughts? The Bible encourages constant prayer. The shortest verse on prayer says simply, "Pray continually." 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 17. Think about it. Friendships grow through communication. The same is true with God. King David, for example, spent a lot of time observing the world around him. When he looked at the stars, he saw the beauty and wisdom of their Creator. He wrote in Psalm 19 verse 1, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands." David also faced lions and bears while protecting his sheep. A prideful person might have taken credit for his victories, but David always gave credit to God. He understood that his strength came from Him. Knowing God isn't just about believing, it's about action. Prayer and reflection are important, but the Bible also emphasizes action. Hosea 4 verses 1 and 6 says, "Listen to the word of the Lord, you Israelites, because the Lord has a charge to bring against you who live in the land. There is no faithfulness, no love, no acknowledgement of God in the land. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you as my priests." The Israelites knew about God, but their actions didn't reflect it. They worshipped idols, committed murder, stole, and engaged in immorality. Just claiming to know God without living by His principles is meaningless. If we truly know Him, our lives should reflect it. When God created Adam and Eve, His desire was for all people to know Him, not just in name, but in a personal way. Is it enough to pray and think about God? Not quite. The Bible makes it clear that obedience matters. 1 John 2 verse 4 says, "Whoever says, 'I know Him,' but does not do what He commands is a liar, and the truth is not in that person." Truly knowing God means following all of His principles, not just the ones that are convenient. Take King Josiah, for example. The Bible says he defended the cause of the poor and needy, and so all went well. Is that not what it means to know me? Jeremiah 22 verse 16. Knowing God isn't just about belief. It's about how we treat others and live our daily life. This applies to personal relationships too. In marriage, for example, Ephesians 5 verse 25 tells husbands, "Love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Love isn't just about words, it's about action. Some people say, "I hit you because I love you." But is that really love? Absolutely not. A husband should treat his wife with kindness and care, making her feel valued and appreciated. And wives? Ephesians 5 verse 33 says, "The wife must respect her husband." Even if a husband isn't perfect, a wife should still show him deep respect. Look at Abigail in the Bible. She was wise and beautiful, but her husband, Nabal, was harsh and evil in his dealings. 1 Samuel 25 verse 3. Yet she still showed him respect. Helping others know God. Knowing God isn't just a personal journey, it's also about helping others. Daniel 11 verses 32 to 33 says, "The people who know their God will be strong and take action. Those who are wise will instruct many." This means true believers don't just sit back. They share what they know. They help others see who God is, what He has done, and what He will do in the future. Jesus set the perfect example. When asked what the greatest commandment was, He replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind." Matthew 22 verse 37. Jesus didn't just say He knew God, He lived it every day. He prioritized God's will, not just in big moments but in everyday decisions. So here's the real question: does God know you? Many people claim to love God, but what does He see when He looks at your life? Does He recognize you as one of His own? If you truly know God, your life will reflect it, not just in words but in actions.